we have a spotlight hour, and today is Diglett. So this one is a bit of an unusual one. There's two different forms of Diglett, Kanto version and Alolan version. Obviously the Kanto version, Gen 1, one of the ultra unique, well not unique, but ultra retro, should I say, one of the ultra retro Pokemon in the game, Diglett. Always remember it growing up in all the fossil sets, and back in the 90s, Diglett being one of the ones that quite a lot of people annoyingly kept getting. Mainly just because it was so common. It was always a common card, Diglett. But then it had a bit of a rebirth in the Alola region. So as you can see, Alolan is slightly different. So the bottom half where it's coming out of the ground is a bit of a darker colour, and it always has that little bit of hair on its head as well to distinguish between the Kanto and the Alolan versions. When we evolve into Dugtrio, they look a little bit different again. So Kanto Dugtrio just looks like three Digletts effectively, all stood next to each other, whereas the Alolan Dugtrio has really long locks of hair. So we'll see if we can get any of these shiny. You will have to just bear with me today. I'm not feeling the greatest, but we'll try and live stream as much as we can. Try and make it a regular occurrence, no matter how I'm feeling. But you could probably tell in my voice, a little bit croaky today. So obviously the Ultra Unlock event part 1 finished yesterday. So Ultra Unlock part 1 finished yesterday, and obviously that saw the end of the 4 times catch XP, which was really nice to get, because it meant doing an excellent throw on something without even a lucky egg on got you towards 5,000 XP when you caught it with an excellent throw. So it was definitely a time to be grinding XP, but unfortunately that's gone now. The event finished last night at 8 PM, so that's why the spawns have gone back to being a little bit disappointing. Gone back to the seasonal spawns that we're currently getting. Huge Diglett there, unfortunately not shiny. So both of these Digletts can be shiny. The Kanto one doesn't change that much, to be honest. It has a little blue nose instead of its usual pinky nose, but the Alolan version looks like it's been to the Bahamas and got sunburnt quite badly. Goes really red on its skin, or like an orangey red, like a sunburnt colour. So we'll go and see if we can find any of these shiny. Talking about sunburnt, it is quite hot here in the UK at the moment, so hence why I've got the sun hat. Again, loads of spawns around this spot. We are going to try and walk and head towards some trees and take our time a little bit today, just because not feeling particularly well as keeping out of the sun. The last thing you want to do on a day like today is end up with sunstroke or anything. So we've got a couple of days now until the next Ultra Unlock event, which is Ultra Unlock Part 2. And in that event, it is mainly based around steel types. So the brand new shiny release is Togedemaru. So Togedemaru will get its shiny release. I think it starts on July the 25th, which is Thursday. If I'm wrong, please correct me, but I believe it's Thursday. it will start the event of part 2 of the Ultra Unlock. And like I say, that will see the likes of Togedemaru, and part 3 will actually land in the middle of that, and that is the raid day. So the raid day, which we all know by now, will feature Mega Lucario fighting and steel type. It will be the best fighting type in the game. It was already up there as one of the best as a normal Lucario, but now with it Mega Evolved, it will be the best one without a doubt, and by quite some distance, to be honest. So running some stats earlier today in comparison to what best to use against Mega Aggron, I did find out the stats for Mega Lucario, which have already been put into the game now. The damage output Mega Lucario does in comparison to the next best fighting type currently in the game, which is Mega Blaziken. The damage output difference is 20% in comparison to what it can do against Mega Aggron. So using Lucario maxed out to level 50 over and over again against a Mega Aggron, you can actually do 80% worth of damage if it's level 50'd. But using a Mega Blaziken maxed out to level 50 again, doing against the same raid boss, same weather conditions, it will only do 60% worth of damage. So that's a difference of 20% just in one. That's just in one Mega Evolution. It's going to be an absolute beast of a Mega Pokemon, Mega Lucario. It's definitely going to take some beating if it ever will get beaten. Obviously, unfortunately, you can't have 6 of them, so you can't have a squad of them at one time. You can only Mega Evolve one at any one time, but still, 1 Mega Lucario and 5 decent stats, level 50, normal Lucario will be a beast of a squad. And obviously you've also got the likes of Terrakion, which is right up there as one of the best fighting types in the game, with its Sacred Sword legacy move. And then you've also got the likes of Keldeo as well. Again, Sacred Sword, but obviously you can only have one of them if you've completed the special research to get it. But Keldeo does have a second form. Unsure how that's going to impact the fighting meta on the game, but I doubt it's going to get anywhere close to the Mega Lucario stats that we're currently seeing. But we'll wait and find out. So I've currently got a gotcha on as well, because I did run out of Pokeballs yesterday. It's the first time in around about 3 or 4 years playing the game that I'd actually ran out of Pokeballs completely. So it was a little bit of a nightmare. Brought back memories back in the day where I first started playing Pokemon. I only had 1 Pokestop right at the bottom of my village where I live, and I used to walk down there, about a 10-minute walk down to the bottom of the village to get this Pokestop, spin it, get about 3 or 4 balls if I was lucky, and probably use them all by around about 20 meters walking away from it. So definitely was a time where I had to pick and choose what I caught and not just catch everything like I try and do nowadays. So it's amazing to think back now and think about how much Pokecoins I must have spent getting Pokeballs because it was so remote. Luckily I got to a stage where I can nominate Pokestops, and we've managed to fill it quite well now where that doesn't seem to happen, or very rarely seems to happen. Obviously it did yesterday, but like I say, very rare occurrence nowadays. Gyms under construction. Always love this feature. Completely crashes your game, and unfortunately you have to close it down and reopen it. So let's go ahead and open it back up. Really, really annoying. Gym's under construction, completely crashes your game, freezes it, and you can't do anything else bar restart it. Super, super annoying. I know I'm not the only one affected by that issue. It is affecting a lot of people at the moment. One of the many bugs currently in the game, it's fair to say. There was another bug that I noticed during the Dynamo community day at the weekend. Don't know if any of you noticed it as well. There seemed to be a bug where when you added on a showcase, you'd normally filter it by the highest points first. So what would get you the highest points in that showcase, so the biggest Dynamo, for example, like it was at the weekend, and it wasn't doing it. So even though you filtered it in that order, it would just randomly put them in any order. You ended up putting small ones on or anything if you clicked one of the top ones. So that was a little bit annoying. And another bug I'd found was the friendship list. I don't know if you've fixed this yet, but if you went onto your friendship list on Pokemon and searched, use the search bar across the top, it wouldn't actually work. So the search bar was didn't work at all. So again, not the best feature. Let's just get rid of that little reply there. So let me know in the comments below if you're hunting Mega Lucario just for the Mega Energy or the XP, or whether you actually still need it shiny. It has been featured on a couple of events, and obviously Riolu did have a hatch day earlier on, probably early on this year, if not last year now. It did have a hatch day, which it seems to be most of the baby Pokemon are getting a hatch day at some point. And probably looking at the load up screen that we've just seen, Mantike is featured on that load up screen, so I would be quite surprised if we didn't have a Mantike hatch day very soon, probably in August sometime, or maybe even September. So we'll keep an eye out for that. But it definitely seems to be a case that whatever appears on that loading screen does get featured at some point or another in the game over the current season. So let's see what happens with that Mantike. But yeah, let me know in the comments below if you're doing the Lucario just for the shiny, or if you're doing it for the XP because you've already got the shiny, or if you're doing it just solely to get the Mega Energy. Let me know. I'm probably going to be doing it for both the shiny. I'd quite like a decent shiny to Mega Evolve. I have already got a couple of decent ones, which I'll show you in a second. But it's always nice to try and get that elusive Shundo if you can. Obviously 1 in 10 chance as well of it being shiny on a raid day. Have already brought the raid ticket, and if you buy it from the web store, as you can see with my little avatar, you do get this really cool looking Lucario mask, which I quite like actually. It is a really cool mask to have. Really do like that. So yeah, you do get that, but it's only if you buy the ticket through the web store. The ticket will be available in the in-game shop later on this week. It's already available on the web store. And if you do buy that ticket, just bear in mind, it really confused me this morning. It's advertised as a Lucario mask. So when I brought the ticket, I immediately went to my avatar, tried to find my masks, and tried to find the Lucario mask within the mask section, and it's not there. It's because it's underneath the hats section. So don't be distraught if you can't find it under the mask section, because for some reason Lucario mask is classed as a hat. Don't know why. Probably another little bug in the Antics software at the moment, but yeah, it will be under the hat section, not the masks. So a little bit confusing, but at least that means you can also put a different mask on like I have. I've gone for the little Day of the Death mask there, the face painting for the Mexican event that was released a couple of years ago. So that's underneath the Lucario mask or hat. So a little bit better now, shaded from the sun. Can finally see the screen a little bit better now. So Diglett's actually quite a nice, excellent throw to do. Just over 448 million now. If you haven't already seen, we are targeting 500 million by the end of the year. I started this year with 334 million, which meant I needed 166 million by the end of the year to get to the 500 million target. So that was just a preset target that I'd set, nothing that the game had set. So it was just a target that I'd set myself, and we're nearly at the 450 million mark. Still, we're around about 5 months to go, so definitely on target for that one. There is some YouTube videos up on my channel based around the targets that I've set myself for the year. If you want to go check those out after this live video, please do. You'll find them under one of the sections in my channel, as well as some raid solo videos as well. So we did a raid solo video yesterday against a Mega Swampert to see if we could take it down by ourselves. I won't let you know the result, but head over after this and see how we got on in that challenge. Might try and attempt Mega Aggron, although Mega Aggron is a lot more bulkier. But we'll see. We'll do a comparison and see if it's doable. And if it is, we might give that a shot. So still no shiny Diglett so far. But it's quite an easy throw, as I was saying before, and most of these are lower CP, so they do have the green catch circle, which means 9 times out of 10 they are going to actually stay in the ball when you throw at them. Psychics, Rocket Balloon, we'll leave that for now. We will put the daily incense on as well, just for the time being. Probably won't get to use the daily incense after this, so put it on now, might as well use it now. It will mostly spawn Digletts, even though it's one that seems to spawn anything randomly. If you use it during a spotlight hour, it will just work like a normal incense, but you'll get the odd incense spawn added in there as well. And obviously could possibly get a glaring bird as well. Absolutely lovely weather at the moment. There you go, a seal. So seal wanting to get in on all the action of spotlight hour. It's been quite a while since seal's been featured in any events, so it's quite nice to see one about. Definitely missing the 4 times catch XP with these Digletts. Would have been nice if that was still going on. Although the tiny mode community today, when you got used to it, that was a really, really nice, excellent throw as well. Roughly got around about 5.9 million XP within the 3 hours of community day, which was just incredible. I did have a lucky egg on throughout the whole time, so it meant every excellent throw that I caught a tiny mo with got around about 10,000 XP, which is crazy when you think you normally get 10,000 XP from one legendary raid without a lucky egg. So to get 10,000 XP through one throw was just insane. And obviously that meant if you did 100 excellent throws, you got 1,000,000 straight away. So definitely an event to be concentrating a little bit more on getting those excellent throws and not just catching in general. So Diglett's probably one of the only Alolan Pokemon in the game that doesn't have increased shiny odds. We've got Alolan Vulpix, that was in an event yesterday and the last few days, but obviously the event finished yesterday. So Alolan Vulpix is 1 in 64 odds. Alolan Grimer, again, 1 in 64 odds. Alolan Executor, again, 1 in 64 odds. But unfortunately, Alolan Diglett sits at 1 in 512 odds, the same as the Kanto Diglett. So it's full odds shiny for both these Digletts today. Unfortunately, not boosted for the Alolan. Do find that a little bit odd with all the other Alolans seemingly boosted, but Diglett not being so. Perhaps Niantic don't love Diglett as much as the Vulpix, Executor. Obviously, Hisuian Growlithe as well, 1 in 64 odds for that, but 1 in 512 for its normal. And then obviously Alolan Sandshrew as well. Can't forget that one. Also 1 in 64 odds for the Alolan version, 1 in 512 for the normal Kanto version. So yeah, perhaps Niantic just don't like Diglett for some reason. But we won't say that too loud because Digletts might run away. So we'll keep that to ourselves. But it is quite a nice shiny. If we don't manage to get one during the hour, I'll show you one in my storage that I've already got. I have already got both these shiny. I think I've got a couple of both of them, to be honest. But we'll have a check afterwards and see what we've got. Out of the two, I do quite like the Alolan Diglett more than the normal Diglett. There's just a little bit more to it than the bog standard Diglett. Even the different colouring and obviously the little tuft of hair on top of his head does make it look a little bit different and a little bit nicer in my opinion. Let me know which one you prefer in the comments below, whether you prefer the Kanto or whether you prefer the Alolan Diglett. Let me know. Although I grew up in the generation of Gen 1 and probably only knew the Pokemon up until about Gen 3, Gen 4, when I stopped playing the Game Boy games, when I had to grow up a little bit. Obviously, I know the newer gens mainly through this Pokemon GO game, but they were the only gens that I really knew growing up to around about Gen 4, and then I lost track a little bit then. But thanks to this game, I've picked up a little bit of them. And I do quite like the Pokemon that have different forms of previous ones. It's a little bit nostalgic, but with a little bit of a tweak, which makes it quite cool. I do like the Hisuian Growlithe in the game. I also like the Hisuian Braviary, and obviously the different evolutions as well. So you've got the likes of Cleavor instead of Scizor for Cypher. So I do quite like those additions that we've added into the game in the later gens. We haven't just completely forgot about the Gen 1. We've tried to add to it. Annihilate, obviously, in addition to the Primeape and Mankey family. Makes it a little bit more relevant to the game as well, which is nice to see. So 25 minutes into the Spotlight Hour. Still no shiny Digletts as of yet. Alolan Diglett on the incense. So we'll have a look in a minute when we hit a little bit of a dry spot here. We'll have a quick look and see how many shiny Digletts we have got in our storage. So we have got 2 Alolan shinies, so you can see the Alolan shiny there, like I was saying before, keeps that little blue nose like the Kanto one gets, but goes completely sunburnt as if it's been in the sun way too long. But that is the Kanto shiny, little blue nose, nothing else really changes on it. I don't think even the mud pile that it comes out of changes colour, even if it's slightly. I can't seem to tell any difference. And then obviously that's the Dug trio from the Kanto and the Alolan Dug trio. That little tuft of hair becomes some really blonde, really long blonde locks. So it is quite a nice shiny to get in both forms. Even though the Kanto doesn't change that much, it is quite a nice little subtle change. It's an obvious shiny when it's got that blue nose, but it's not spoiling the Pokemon too much. It's not going crazy overboard with the different colours. And then the same again with the Alolan one, even though it does change quite a bit, especially in the skin tone of it. It does seem to fit it quite nicely, especially with that darker mud pile that it comes out of. So it does seem to suit it a little bit better. I can't imagine the Kanto one working very well with that sunburnt look. But perhaps somebody's done an edit of that online somewhere that you can check out. But I doubt it looks as good as the Alolan one. So out of these 2, looking at what we've just seen from what we've got in the storage, I'll probably prefer the Alolan shiny from this Spotlight Hour if I am to get any at all, just because we've only got 2 of the Alolan shiny, whereas the Kanto shiny we've seemed to have got quite a few. And I believe, if I'm not wrong in saying, we also got a shiny one with a costume. Let me just check that. Yes, we did. So little event that happened back end of last year, Diglett could be shiny with this top hat costume. Obviously it's evolution as well, which I haven't evolved it with the costume because I've only got 1. So that is actually a really, really nice shiny with the costume. 0 stars, so not a brilliant shiny in terms of stats, but it is a nice shiny to get with that costume. This is going to be super rare. Don't think it's appeared with that costume since. So we'll have to wait until the back end of this year. It was November time last year when it appeared, so it might be November time again this year. Can't remember exactly the event where it was released with a top hat and why it had a top hat, but probably around the same time that Krogunk got its hat. Onyx appearing at the Daily Intense. Although I don't particularly like Onyx because of its ability to mostly be shiny every time you click on it. It is a very nice excellent throw. One of those Pokemon that has a big catch circle, which means you can quite easily throw an excellent on it. So nearly at the halfway point of the Spotlight Hour. 6:29 so far. Next week's Spotlight Hour will be a very interesting one. It was labelled as the only one of the month that you couldn't get shiny, but in fact that will not be the case. It will be available as shiny, and that is because its shiny is being released in a couple of days, and it is Togedemaru. So it's going to be very similar to Marini a couple of months ago when that got released shiny. On the infographics right at the start of the month, it appears as if it's not shiny, and then leading up to, as we get closer and closer and at the end of the month, it gets featured in an event where the shiny release was done, and the Spotlight soon follows. So it is going to be a really, really good time to get that brand new shiny in Pokemon Go Togedemaru next week on Spotlight Hour, so 6 till 7 Tuesday next week. So that will be the 30th of July. You might have a really good chance to get that shiny Togedemaru. I believe the odds will be full odds, so 1 in 512. We might know a little bit more when the event starts, but that seems to be the case at the moment, is that it will be a full odds shiny. So 1 in 512, and it's not really very similar to Marini. It's not very often that we see a Togedemaru or a Marini spawn in the wild. So getting it during that event and getting it during that Spotlight Hour is going to be really, really important in a way, because it might be quite a while until we get it featured in an event again. And the nice thing with Togedemaru is very similar to the Emolga that we've recently just had shiny release in the Go Fest. It is only a one form Pokemon. It hasn't got any evolution, so you only really need one of it to have the family complete. If you are one that completes the families and has the that likes to have multiple other Pokemon, so you have one of each form of its family, like I do, then Togedemaru is going to be really, really nice, because you only have to hunt after one of it. So gotcha working okay, spinning those stops, which is nice to see. Probably will start running low on balls towards the back end of a Spotlight Hour, but hopefully we can recoup some with the Pokestops that we're going past in a minute. So another thing to mention as well in regards to the Mega Lucario raid day that's happening on Saturday, it is going to be for 6 hours. So normally raid days only happen for 3 hours, normally it's 2 till 5. This one is going to be slightly different. It's going to be for 6 hours, so it's going to be from 11 AM till 5 PM your local time. So for 6 hours you're going to get Lucario spawning, and as with the past few raid days, should I say, that we've had, I would expect that it's going to be hour intervals. So even if you live in a remote area, every hour, every gym will get another Lucario on. So long gone are the days where on raid days each gym would spawn a raid and it will last for 3 hours. Nowadays, every raid that appears only lasts for an hour, and then it gets reset and another one starts immediately on the hour afterwards. So it is going to be a good event to get loads of Mega Energy for Lucario, especially if you're going to be out for the whole 6 hours. Definitely need to prep yourself and buy a few raid passes if you've not got enough already. But also, if you do buy the Lucario ticket, which is in the web store now but will be in the in-game store later on this week, then you do also get those additional bonuses, including 1.5 times XP from raid. So instead of getting around about 7,500, I think it is, for a mega raid, you'll get 12,500. So you'll get an extra 50% XP off raids. And you'll also get 8 additional free raid passes. So with raid days, you normally get 5 anyway, so every single player gets 5 free raid passes. And obviously, if you keep your one from the Friday, so you don't raid anything on Friday, but you at least spin a gym to earn your free raid pass for Friday, then you will end up having 6 free raid passes on the Saturday. If you go ahead and buy the ticket, that 6 has a chance to become 14 if you buy the ticket. So 14 free raid passes with a ticket means that you probably, depending on your location, how many raids you do, you're probably good to go for an hour or two, depending on how many raids you normally do within the hours. And that might be enough to get a couple of decent Lucarios and also a lot of Mega Energy to Mega Evolve them with. So you don't have to spend crazy amounts of money to take part of that event. So let's catch these Digletts around here and then we'll head back down. Huge Alolan one we had before. It's nice to see. Still no shiny ones at the moment. We'll start heading back up and get more of these Pokestops on the way up, just so we don't run out of Pokeballs. As you can see, we're down below 100 now, we're on 90 Pokeballs. Try to take my time a little bit with them and get those excellent throws. We'll also do something that we haven't done so far, which is start a route. It's a shame really that the special spawns that you get on routes in certain events, so for instance Go Fest recently had increased spawns of Diglett, Crabrawler and Emolga, and previous Go Tour Hoenn earlier in February this year we had the release of the white Basculin on routes, and that could be shiny. It was the only way to get it shiny on routes. It's a shame that that feature of routes, similar to the Daily Incense where you can get the Galarian birds, it's a shame that that feature on routes isn't on the game all the time. I think more people do routes if it was always something that only spawned on routes or had a chance of spawning on routes. Even if you stuck the Galarian birds on routes, it would be a nice additional feature to have, that you could actually encounter a Galarian bird. I think everybody will start doing a lot more routes if that was the case. I think quite a few people really don't have the appetite to do routes that often. There's not much bonuses to them. Obviously your first route of the day you get an exchange gift with Mateo at the end. Obviously you can earn a Zygarde cell, but if you're like me and the Zygarde you encountered was very rubbish in terms of stats, and you don't really want to focus on evolving that anyway. But unfortunately, like I found out the other day, once you've reached 250 Zygarde cells, that is the maximum. So to start earning more, you have to change the form of your current Zygarde. So I've currently changed my form of my Zygarde to the snake form, so the 50% form, sorry, the dog is 25. So the 50% form goes into this Arbok looking snake, and the 100%, the complete form, goes into a huge massive robot, which I could change the form of now, but I don't really want to. It is only a 2-star and a really rubbish 2-star at that as well, so quite disappointing with that. And I don't really want to have to change its form, although if it gets to a stage where I don't encounter another Zygarde off a special research or anything in the upcoming months, and it gets to a stage where I've got back to 250 Zygarde cells, it'll probably be a case where I have to force myself to evolve that and change the form to its 100% complete form, just so I could start earning more Zygarde cells from routes. So the really annoying thing is that when you've reached the 250 mark, of the Zygarde cells on routes. You could still actually encounter Zygarde cells, you could still click on them, but it still gets sucked up into your Zygarde cube. Apologies for the road noise background. So yeah, you could still actually encounter the Zygarde cells on your routes, at the end of your routes, even if you can get to 250. But unfortunately, when you collect them, it doesn't actually add any to that 250. So it appears as if it's going to still be there and add to that total that you've already earned, but unfortunately that's not the case. It's definitely something to just bear in mind. If you feel like you're close to that 250 mark, keep checking, and if you're getting close to it, then change the form of your Zygarde, just so that you never get to a stage where you're doing routes thinking you're earning cells, but actually you've maxed out at the 250 and you can't earn any more without changing your form. So just bear that in mind. 6:41, 19 minutes left of the spotlight hour. Heading towards a few more Pokestops now up here. Just replenish a few more Pokeballs. Still no shiny Diglett as of yet. So what's this? Rocket Stop. Another Psychic one. Don't really want the Psychic one. Tends to be a case where I'll only do rockets of the ones that I know can be quite useful for raids and stuff. So the fighting one, Mokuhita, the Chop, quite useful, so I'll do those. The Ghost one, quite like to have a decent Shadow Golett if I can. Not mainly because it's useful, but just because it's a really, really nice Pokemon. I do like Golett, and I do like Ghost types in general. Probably my favourite typing on the game. And then obviously the likes of a ground one where you can encounter Drillbur and also Rhyhorn, so that is on the ground one. Obviously Wooper is there as well, so that's always a chance that you could end up going against a Wooper. And then obviously the Dragon one, which has the likes of Dratini and also Gibble on there as well. So they seem to be the ones that I go towards more than anything. Mainly just because of its usefulness in PvE. Don't tend to do a lot of PvP personally, so not really interested maybe in anything good for PvP. In fact, this entire season so far, I've only actually ended up doing 2 battles, and both those were mistakes where I tried to get hearts with my buddy and ended up clicking to fight against someone else in the Go Battle League instead of fighting against Candela down at the bottom of the page. Shiny Flabébé, that is awesome. That is awesome. I will definitely take a shiny white flowered Flabébé over any Diglett, that's for sure. So white flower, Flabébé, shiny. That is an awesome spawn. Spawned on the route as well. 2-star, not a bad 2-star. A little bit of a middle finger on the stats. But there you go, shiny white flower Flabébé. Let's have a quick look and see what other shiny Flabébés I've got. I've definitely got a couple of more, but have we got a white one already or not? So we've got red, we've just got that white one, we've got an orange as well, and we've got another red, so that is actually one that I needed. So that is a really, really cool spawn to get off a route, so I'm really glad that I did this route now. Not just for the heart that I'm going to get on the buddy, but that is a super cool shiny to get on a route. White flower Flabébé, definitely winning. Let's see if we can top it off by getting a shiny Diglett on this spotlight hour. Go back to using Pokeballs. A couple of Kanto Digletts there on the left hand side. Just a little break here. Try and catch up with all these Digletts. That is an awesome spawn though to get on the route. Definitely one of those where you can't really tell it's shiny. You have to keep looking to see if you can see a little bit of purple on the underside of Flabebe, just above its leaf, but on the underside of its body. And sure enough, there was a little bit of purple there, and it was indeed shiny. So super happy about that. And it's not too bad a stats as well, so quite happy about that as well. But try and find quite a few more of them. Obviously it evolves 3 times, so each Flabebe colour has 3 evolutions. So super happy to have one of each, at least in my region now. But definitely need a couple more now, so we can start evolving. But yeah, definitely happy about that. Zygarde cell. Just the one this time. You can actually earn up to 3 apparently now on route, at the end of route. And there was a rumour that you can actually earn 15 Zygarde cells in a day, where in fact that is not true. You can still only earn 3 Zygarde cells in total in a day. But apparently it is true that you can earn 3 off one route. I've still not encountered 3 Zygarde cells myself off one route. We'll go ahead and complete that route now. So yeah, definitely let me know in the comments below whether you're watching this live or whether you're watching it afterwards. If you've encountered 3 Zygarde cells off one route before, let me know. I don't know if it is possible or not yet for definite, but it would be nice to know. Definitely not the case where this rumour of having 15 Zygarde cells in one day, that is definitely not the case. If that was true, it meant that you could earn 15 a day, which meant you could actually max out a Zygarde in around about 25 days, which would just be ridiculous. I don't think Niantic are going to make it that easy to get a complete form Zygarde. They've definitely not made it that easy for a reason so far, so it would be weird for them to make it super easy further down the line. So 12 minutes left. Do you think we're going to get a shiny Diglett? And if so, which one? Kanto or Alolan? I'm still feeling quite good about the Alolan, even though we've just encountered that shiny Flabebe. I'm still feeling like an Alolan Diglett shiny could pop up at any moment. So that's definitely one I'm edging towards. Probably more wishful thinking than anything, but still, even if it is just hope, I do hope we encounter a shiny Diglett of some sort. I just hope more so that it is the Alolan one. Just got into the last 10 minutes now of the spotlight hour. Still seems to be using more Pokeballs than we're earning at this moment in time. or with a gotcha, does seem to be spinning most of the things we pass. Let's just check it spawned this gym. One downside is with a gotcha or with a Pokemon GO Plus like I've got, should have it in my pocket, yeah. So this little device, the only downside to it is that when you're catching Pokemon, like quick catching like I am here, it doesn't tend to work that well spawning or catching anything else in the background. It tends to be a case where as long as you aren't doing anything on the phone, it will then do its process a lot better. So whether you've got it programmed to spin stops or whether you've got it programmed to catch things, it only seems to do that effectively when you're not interacting with the screen itself. So you do have to just check sometimes that it is spinning those stops, or at least give it a couple of seconds on the screen without you clicking on any Pokemon, just so it can catch up and spin those stops, so you don't end up walking past them and missing and basically not taking advantage to a whole use of actually having one of these. But overall, I do really like my Pokemon GO Plus device. Bit of a long-winded name. Don't know why we couldn't call it something else instead of Plus, but still, I do quite like it as a device. Obviously, it has got sleep tracking on it and stuff like that. That's mainly if you like the Pokemon Sleep app, you can use it for that. Of which I do go on it every now and again, but I've sort of lost much of a love for the Pokemon Sleep app. It tends to be a little bit tedious and the same old sort of thing. We have tried to spice it up with bringing out events on there that spawn legendary Pokemon and stuff like that, but still it does seem to be a little bit tedious as to what you can actually do on there. So mainly I still use the sleep tracking function, but I don't tend to go on Pokemon Sleep itself much. I mainly use it to sleep track and then earn extra hearts on my buddy in Pokemon GO, to which you can earn up to 2 bonus hearts just through sleeping. So as long as you sleep over 6 hours, then you'll earn 2 bonus hearts. If you sleep less than 6 hours but more than 3, I believe, you'll earn 1 bonus heart. So at least it's extra bonus hearts working towards those best buddies on Pokemon GO. And obviously, if you haven't already known, I'm well into doing those best buddies. That again is another target that I'm trying to hit by the end of the year. I'm trying to reach 500 best buddies by the end of 2024. That is a goal proving to be a little bit more difficult than the XP goal that I had. But again, monthly updates on that are on my channel. And you can see the start of every month an update on how I'm getting on with those challenges. So nearly 5 minutes left of this spotlight hour. Still no shiny Diglett as of yet. It is also the added bonus of this spotlight hour is 2 times evolution XP. So if you've got loads of Pokemon with that are cheap to evolve, so the likes of Pidgey, Weedle, Caterpie, but all those that are 12 candies to evolve, people tend to keep those and save them for this spotlight hour, so you can literally sit there at home with a nice cuppa evolving all those Pokemon that are cheap to evolve. Lucky egg, you can earn 2000 XP for every evolution with a lucky egg on during this hour. Sorry, 2000 with a lucky egg on normally, but during this hour it'll be 4000 XP for every evolution. So it's definitely worth doing if you have got loads of Pokemon that are cheap to evolve. If you haven't, make sure you save them up for next time. From my sort of take on it in the past, it has tended to be a bonus that's available on these sort of spotlight hours where the Pokemon that's spawned in isn't something drastically that's a new shiny or anything like that. It tends to be on one of these spotlight hours where people don't tend to be too bothered about going out and catching these Pokemon, especially if you play the game for a long time. You've probably got both of these Diglett forms shiny already, like I have, so it's definitely more of a chance where you can actually sit at home and evolve all those cheap evolutions and just earn XP that way. Me personally, I used to do that. I used to do the 2 times evolution XP bonus. Used to collect all the Pokemon where I can that are cheap to evolve, but nowadays I just tend to go out catching. Much prefer to try and shiny hunt, even if it is a shiny that I've already got. Much prefer to do this than to just sit at home trying to evolve stuff. So only 3 minutes left. Still no shiny Diglett at the moment, which is a little bit annoying. See if we can get one in the last few minutes. Again, just make sure that we're getting these Pokestops, recoup on a few balls. Probably will have a gotcha going the next couple of days before the next event, the Ultra Unlock Part 2, which again starts on Thursday. So probably will have the gotcha going to just recoup all these balls that I seem to have completely lost during the Go Fest event, and obviously the Dynamo community day that we had, where I was catching an obscene amount of Dynamos, mainly because of the 4 times catch XP. Two minutes left of the spotlight hour. Is there going to be any late sparkles in the hour? Once we're finished, I'll just check as well to see if we've got any hundos, if we've managed to encounter any hundos en route. We are indeed into the Great Balls now, so we've used all our Pokeballs at the moment. Like I say, we'll try and recoup those before the next Ultra Unlock event. But as for now, we're on to Great Balls. A little bit better still though than what we were yesterday, where I had only 1 Pokeball, 1 Great Ball and 1 Ultra Ball in my storage. And I mainly kept those in my storage just in case there was a shiny spawn outside that I wouldn't be able to catch if I didn't. Luckily enough there wasn't, because knowing my luck, if there was a shiny spawning outside, it would have took me 3 balls and it still wouldn't have caught, and I'd be left with no balls and a bouncing shiny that I couldn't catch. So try not to get into that scenario again. Last few seconds of spotlight hour and it's finished. So no shiny Diglett. We did get 1 shiny though, really cool shiny that I'm super happy with. We managed to get a shiny white Flabébé. Really wanted this shiny. Been hunting it for ages. It is the Flabébé that we haven't got. We have already got the red one. We've got 2 of the red one in fact. We have got 1 of the orange one, but we didn't have any of the white one. and it is a really nice shiny. 2-star on the appraisal as well. 10, 15, 10 on the stats, so missing 10 in total, around about a 78 IV, but really nice shiny Flabébé there. Did we get any hundos during the spotlight hour of Digletts, or in fact anything else? Unfortunately we didn't. Did we get any good Digletts? Probably not, but let's just have a quick look. Only a few that are 3-star. Anything of any decence in terms of stats? No, not really. So overall, what's that Diglett? Oh, 96. So that was probably a couple of days ago. Yeah, it wasn't even today. So unfortunately, no decent stat Diglett during the spotlight hour and no shinies, but we did get that shiny Flabébé as we said, so all is not lost. Really nice shiny that we actually needed, but we have already got shiny Digletts as I showed you before, so it wasn't a shiny that we really needed, but it would have been a shiny that would quite like to have get on live stream as always, but we did get that Flabébé, so not all is lost. But anyway, thanks very much for watching. Let me know in the comments below if you've done your spotlight hour. What have you got? Have you managed to get a shiny Diglett? And if so, which form did you get? Did you get the Kanto form or the Alolan form? Let me know. Thanks very much for watching, everybody. Hope to see you very soon on the channel. Make sure to check out the other vids on my channel as well after this. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll catch you very soon on the next one. Bye for now.